All right, let's start with this for people who don't know you and for who don't know Scrollmark. Like, tell me about how you started, who you serve, what problem you're solving. Tell everybody about you and what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. A bit about my background. I'm Akshay. Before I started Scrollmark, worked at Facebook for a couple of years, worked on a couple of different things there, worked on messaging, worked on feed ranking. Eventually, while I was on the Pages team, I realized that a lot of businesses want to reach their customers through organic social, but struggle to do that. Started Scrollmark to help businesses reach customers more effectively over social. What Scrollmark is that we are a marketing DM platform. We help you contact your customers over Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, these social messaging platforms that are underutilized in the marketing space today. Mostly serve consumer companies, skincare companies, apparel companies. More recently, we're releasing a product called Social GPT for influencers at large to help them see what content is most likely to go viral. We know that most influencers who sell something on the side, they're depending on organic social as their primary form of marketing. Having some predictability around what content I should be producing to get the most clients is really helpful in building in growth into your business as a content creator or an influencer.
That's very cool. I get what you're trying to help with, but like, are there different targets? Like, there's different customers that you're going at?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. The customers for the Scrollmark enterprise platform, really, we end up targeting brands that have more than 2 to 300 employees, doing more than 10, $15 million in revenue a year. Usually a lot more than that. We work with brands that are at a public scale. Um, and then on the other side, social GPT is at an extremely low price point and is really accessible to everyone. And one of the really nice things is that it, can help us produce some leads for the enterprise platform very often, as well as just serving as an additional source of revenue for our business.
Very cool. I got it. So I'd love to know two things. I'd actually love to know what was the impetus to really get. I know you said you saw that there was a need and an opportunity, but maybe tell me more about the moment that you realize I really have to do this. I'm going to go and launch it. And I'm actually interested in two things. There's that, and then of course the second part is, and now you've launched a second product, Social GPT, and I'd love to also understand how you got there, because it's a more recent occurrence.
Yeah. When we first launched the company, the impetus for us launching, I was Facebook, you're a cog in a machine, especially back in those days. Now these days, maybe headcount isn't as high as it used to be, but I remember a year after I joined, I was there for longer than 60% of the company or something. When you see something like that, you're, oh my God, this company's growing fast in terms of headcount. And my goal at a big company, at a small company, is just to like own a part of the product. Somebody needs to be able to say, I need something for this specific product. This is the guy I call. What that was for me was this product called Top Fans, right? But it was that if you engage a lot with a specific page on Facebook, so page on Facebook is not a person, you or me, it's, a business, the Washington Post or Nike, right? Or like maybe like there are celebrity pages, right? Taylor Swift, right? If you engage a lot with one of those pages as an individual, you would get a notification that's like, "Hey, you're a top fan of Taylor Swift. Click here to claim your badge." The next time you comment on Taylor Swift's page, there'll be a little badge next to your name that says top fans. And this is a product that was about to be shut down. And I went to my boss and I was like, let me run with this for like 3 months, please. Right. So there was some resistance. I finally won him over. Fast forward a year, there's like 6 or 7 people working on the product, and I'm Mr. Top Fans. If you need something for this product, you call me. Right? It's crazy, right? When you like comment a ton on this page, like you don't really get anything. It's not like if you comment on Taylor Swift's page and you become a top fan, you get some money or anything like that, right? It's just a badge, right? People were deep attached to this, right? We moved time spent, which is like one of the hardest things to move at Facebook, right? And one of the most important metrics, right? And like, when our pipelines broke, right, and like top fans badges were not issued, like there would be like literal comments on these pages blaming the page, being, where is my top fan badge? Like, where did it go? I was like, damn, this is crazy. And I was like, businesses should really utilize this, right? Like, there are people who are really fans of businesses and want to be recognized as such, don't really expect any monetary incentive, right? Like, I know that there's loyalty programs that exist, right? And there's a lot more of this that can be done on social, which is already a place where marketing is moving, right? We started the business, you play around, like we evolved, but that's where I was like, I'm helping these businesses like get more clients, get more like grow their brand value, and they don't even know about it. All right. And they're trying to do the same thing. And I feel like, hey, we can start a business to help you do this really effectively. That was how Scrollmark started. Now the new product, I think, you know, one of the things we realized is that in social, content is king. The beginning point of all of our messages, right, is some engagement on content. What a journey on like on Scrollmark could look is that, let's say I make a post about like a new product coming out, right? And somebody comments on it. I can use that as a trigger to message them and basically be like, hey, I saw your comment. By the way, could I get your email? And then here's a 15% off coupon for this product because clearly you've displayed interest. And that's really useful. But it's only useful if the content is good enough to get somebody to comment. Because if nobody comments, then you've set up the journey, you've done all that work, and nobody comes. And this is a classic problem with marketing in general, but especially organic marketing and in almost any form. Organic marketing is as old as time. So I think what we realize is that, hey, like with AI today, we can start to analyze both your content and also content in your niche that's working and tell you, hey, this is the content that you should be posting. Show you which one of your competitors' posts are doing well and also why they did well, right? Because that's the missing piece that a lot of people like don't always kind of understand. Translating that with AI is something that ensures that you have predictability built into how many organic impressions can I generate, how much engagement can I generate, and then also how can I turn that engagement into customers? Because that's what everyone in the world is trying to do, whether it's like a small business, whether it's like a solopreneur, or whether it's
Sure.
a large business of thousands and thousands.
Okay, good. No, it's great, and no, I love it, and I love how I make so much sense in terms of the needs and where social's at, and the changes that happen rapidly. It's just
Yeah.
crazy how fast it's. Help me with this. How would you describe the stage that you're at on the business? Some people will talk about revenue. People talk about funding, size of team. Where would you describe where you're at? And then what were the things that got you from zero, where you talked about getting started, to where you are today?
It's fun because we're in two stages. Like as a company, we've raised $8 million. The enterprise business is doing well, it's growing, but we're starting this new product, Social GPT, which is very early on. We're in the infancy of that product. I get to see the early stage one more time, but at the same time, also experience the growing pains of like going from like a seed stage to a Series A stage. And I can tell you that those problems are very different problems, right? What got us from zero to like that seed stage is very much just hustle. Like it's, hey, like email everyone you can, find advisors, get those advisors to work for you and make connections. Like for every client, handhold them as much as possible until you feel they are getting enough value from the product, right? Like that is it's very much just, you got to brute force it, right? And it's painful and you got to do things that don't scale. Right. After that, I think now what we're doing is setting up systems, right? Hey, like how do you set up a knowledge base? How do you set up like a sales and CS handoff process? How do you set up like efficient bug reporting and SLAs for bugs, right? Like all these things that like big companies already have that I had all the time at Facebook, right? That you kind of have to like define and set up from scratch. And obviously there's a lot of companies who have done this before and a lot of like blueprints to follow, but you do have to make it your own. But I have to say perfect is the enemy of good. Or more importantly, perfect is the enemy of done. Partially just, hey, get something in place and then come back in a month and evaluate how it's working and see what changes you need to make. Because there's so many challenges to tackle.
For sure. Okay. And in particular, let's talk a little bit about growth and where growth has come from. As you've looked at scale and scaling
Right.
over the last, call it 12 to 18 months, what have been the biggest challenges that you've seen in terms of taking the business to the next level?
For us, the biggest challenge is always lead gen and marketing, right? In a B2B business, like having more conversations, like conversations is everything, right? Like when you're doing a consumer business, you do product research, right? But in B2B, your sales calls are your product research. Having more of those, whether or not they go well, is important for the lifeblood of the business. Understand what are the competitors they're using? Why do they lose those competitors? Even if they don't end up choosing you, that will tell you a lot about what needs to be built next. The way we tackle that right now is through an efficient referral system, right? Like, our clients are really happy with us. We try to like incentivize them and push them to refer as many people as they can because I found that marketers trust other marketers.
Yeah.
Ads and LinkedIn is a huge part of this. And ultimately, I think, this is true of every business. Like individuals have specific places they go to for their information. As you can imagine, people who work in social go to social for their information. Being good at social and like growing our own social pages is another like it's something that we didn't focus on in the early parts of the business, but something we are focused on now.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense. That does make sense. You better show that you can, you're doing that. That's great. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. In terms of like the people that you're out talking to people and you talked about is have as many conversations as possible, which makes all the sense in the world. Is it when you're looking at the challenge of that, is it more about how do I reach more people, which people I reach, what I say to them when I talk to them? Like in your mind, is there one of those things that's standing out or a bit of everything or
A bit of everything. I mean, so obviously in the ideal world, if I wanted to have 50 conversations this month, I would choose maybe 60 or 70 people. It's very easy to pull their emails and phone numbers this day and age. Just give them a call and be, let's have a conversation. We know that that's not how the real world works. And I don't blame them because I get a ton of cold email. A lot of it is like bad. They're talking about me as if I'm an agency owner, which I'm clearly not. Like most agencies struggle with this. Are you also struggling with this? Well, the premise is wrong, right? Like, and even when somebody reaches me with a good email, which happens very often, many times I'm like, I'm not interested in having this conversation, right? Like selfishly, I know I don't want to do it. And I know that these people are often more busy than I am. There's tons of marketing tech out there. They're all trying to reach the same people. It's really hard to get people in conversations. There's two remedies to that. One is, as I mentioned, go to people that they trust. This is why referral is so powerful because marketers trust other marketers. If one of my clients tells one of their friends who used to work at this company but left, but hey, we're using Scrollmark now and this is what it's doing for us, at least have a conversation with them. They're good people. If somebody said that to me, I'd be, yeah, sure, let's do it. That's point number one. Point number two is to provide value early on rather than saying, hey, what problems do you have and how can I fix them? Just being like, hey, like, here's this thing. It's free. Maybe it fixes one of your problems and track their usage. And if they use it, then email them back and be like, hey, I saw you clicked on this, or I saw you read through it, or I saw you downloaded this. Like, I have more stuff like this, but also my tool helps you do a lot of this other stuff. Can we talk? Right. Like, so I think, being a founder gives you an appreciation for what good and bad outreach is, because the outreach that you are most likely to respond to. And I've bought a ton of software. I don't know like what affects my decision to buy software. Right. And ultimately the biggest one is need, right? Like, and it's very hard to manufacture need, right? And what you need to do is find out what people in this ICP that you're targeting need and very directly answer why your product will help them meet that, right?
No, it's great. And okay. And if you could wave a magic wand about something that you've done in the last, 12 months, 12 like that you could change something, change a decision, change a way to look at it, especially around that. Is there something that you would do? Anything you would do differently?
I mean, the things that we think we're going to do different, we want to do differently, we do it differently. We make those adjustments on the fly. Startups, you make a decision in the morning and by night the decisions change. And that can be sometimes bad. Thrash is bad generally, but sometimes it's also good. If you're like, I made a decision, it was a wrong decision. It's better to know that early than know that, right? But I think one of the things, like for example, with social GPT that we do a ton of is going back to what I said previously is we don't want to make mistakes. We do a lot of research, right? We started building an initial product, and we went and talked to not just the big companies that we're working with, but also solopreneurs. Right? Found that okay, there are some common threads of what everyone needs, right? Like, what's one thing everyone cares about? They care a ton about hooks. Everyone who's serious about social knows that the hook of the video, the first 3 or 4 seconds, really determines your success in the algorithm. If people watch it past 3 seconds, then you have a chance of them engaging. But if they don't, then you don't have a chance. Everyone's saying, okay, like, suggest me some hooks because I'm struggling with that. Whether it's a big company, whether it's just one guy. Another thing that everyone cares about is competitive research. I want to know and solopreneurs may not call it competitive research. It's the same thing, right? I want to know that what are people doing who look like me? What's making them successful? Like, I don't have the time to go,
Sure.
and watch, 50, 100 videos a day. Right? Tell me what separates the wheat from the chaff quickly. That's another thing we're working really hard on making possible. Doing more of that and getting more structured and more detailed about, okay, what did somebody say in this call? And or maybe not even what they said, but how they reacted with their body language. And what does that tell me about how much they really want and need? And what are the questions I'm asking that are really uncovering something that they didn't say before, that people before weren't saying? We're always thinking about that. We're always thinking about that.
Interesting. There's so many things that are stick. Okay. So look, you guys are pushing hard. You said pushing all the time. Like, are there areas that feel it's harder, it's heavier, it's more challenging, or is it getting easier? Like, how do you view that piece of things? Right? Is it like, versus the beginning, but even are there areas that you're struggling with, or it's all rolling now? It's
I
just a
mean,
matter of more.
if there were not areas that we're struggling with, obviously, we'd be having a different conversation. We're the thing that I always believe is that more things done okay is better than a few things done perfect, right? We make decisions, we do what we can, and then if those decisions don't work out, then we say, okay, I'm gonna scrap this. And that is the right way to operate. And obviously not everything we do works out. We struggle a lot across all areas of the business, honestly. Engineering, marketing, sales. Sometimes it's because we don't have enough process, and sometimes it's because we have too much process. And sometimes because of situations outside of our control. Sometimes, we've done this before where we went out and tried to sell a thing we thought was a problem, but wasn't really a problem. It was when we went out, people said they're interested, but they weren't really that interested. We learned to ask better questions to understand how interested people really are and like validate early with the usage, right? These are, and some of those mistakes are unavoidable, right? But, you know, ultimately, if you try enough things, you will make forward progress. That's, I'm proud to say we're doing that.
That's awesome. No, it's great. So help me out here. So where can people find you and follow what you're doing?
Yeah, of course. You can find us at gpt.social on both Instagram and TikTok at gpt.social. You can find our website at scrollmark.com. And, feel free to connect with me. My name is Akshay Madhani on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Well, listen, Akshay, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'll add some links into the description. And for everybody who's watching, thank you. And we'll see you in the next episode.